So in this concept video, we are going to discuss sporophytic self-incompatibility, which is abbreviated as SSI. We are going to stick to the same points in gametophytic self-incompatibility. Sporophytic self-incompatibility. So here, what is the gene responsible for self-incompatibility? S gene. And how many alleles does it express through? Multiple alleles. What are the possible alleles? So for explanation purpose, I took 4 alleles here also. I am writing the possible of only S1, S1, S2, S1, S3, S1, S4. So let us take them this way. And what is the method of expression here? Dominance. What is dominance? When only one of the two alleles written above will express over the other one is recessive. So in this combination, S1 is expressive over S2. Here also S1 is expressive over S3. Here also S1 is expressive over S4. Now if I write another combination S2, S1, S2, S3 and S2, S4. In this case, whatever allele I write first is dominant over other. Like S2 is dominant over S1. S2 is dominant over S3. So here also it is same. Now the same stigma is an expression of sporophyte. We are seeing this in angiosperms. So diploid generation is dominant. Then pollen grain. So in previous case, the alleles of pollen grain decided whether it would germinate or not. In this self-incompatibility, alleles of sporophyte will decide whether there will be germination or not. In previous case, it is codominance. In this case, it is dominance. Think that the sporophyte is of the S1, S2 allele expression. Now the gametophyte is S1, S2. If it is of same species, then S1 is dominant over S2 in this pollen grain. And here also S1 is dominant over S2. So this will not germinate. Then I have another pollen grain which has S3, S1, where S3 is dominant over S1. S1 does not speak at all. And in this case, the sporophyte has S1 dominating. This pollen grain has S1 in allele, but it is recessive. And here S1 is dominant. So this can germinate, partially compatible, because the dominant alleles are different. So this may partially germinate. The pollen tube will start growing. We have some other levels of resistance further that may employ because it has an allele in common. But if it is from S3, S4, so this is strict no, this is partial compatibility. And now if you see this composition, S3 is dominant over S4 and absolutely no allele in match, and this is of same species yet a different genetic composition. This pollen grain will take complete successful compatibility. So this is complete incompatibility, self incompatibility. This is partial compatibility because the dominant allele is not common. This is perfectly okay because the alleles are not in common and the dominant allele is completely different. This would successfully germinate and fertilize the embryo, egg in the embryo sac. This is sporophytic self-incompatibility but true dominance. Even if we have alleles in common, like in this case, if this is pollen grain 1, pollen grain 2 and pollen grain 3, in second pollen grain case we have an allele in common, that is S1, but because the method of expression is dominance, the dominant allele is different, there is a chance. If it did not come across pollen grains like third pollen grain in my example, then it may completely germinate and fertilize with the second, but there is a strict no with the first pollen grain because both of the dominant alleles are same. It belongs to the same genetic composition.